I won the Ultimate Fighter. Now, I'm not attempting to insert myself too much, but the way that the program is built is around the coaches. And then in comes the athletes. That's the way it's built. Now, I, no different than Daniel, are arrogant enough to come out and tell you that's the case. It's about the athletes. It's all about the athletes. But there is a contest going on between Daniel and I. And when they say who won, they're not going to say a fighter. They're going to say the team. So I just want to preface that before I say something too disgusting for you. But I won the Ultimate Fighter, I think. Now, the math was against me. It was 7-4 Daniel coming into Saturday, of which of the 2 fights, 3 of the athletes were Daniel. So Daniel's guaranteed to get a win because it's his own 2 guys against each other. And if I then get a win in the other one, the best the score would be, if it was 7-4 going in, would be 5-8. I lose by 3. Mathematically, that is the best case scenario for Team Sonnen. But we agreed in writing. This is undisputable, is why I bring up the writing, that we would conclude the Ultimate Fighter Saturday night. Now, Daniel lost 2 guys at the scale. Daniel's fight, whereas 2 of his athletes did not report to the scale. The fight did not happen. Now, they plan to just do that in the future. I think they've even got it scheduled for a few weeks from now. That's what they plan to do. Go ahead and have your fight, but that's a UFC fight. It's not part of the Ultimate Fighter. The reason I know that to be true is I have a contract that shows when we are going to conclude the Ultimate Fighter. The Ultimate Fighter is now over. So if you deduct the points of the 2 guys that never got to the scale, which is how every tournament in the world works, then it was 5-4 Daniel going in to the championship match between Alibi and Joseph Morales. So, if Joseph won, that would tie the team score 5-5. Criteria, of course, being broken by championship. Well, Joseph did win. So the team score is 5-5. Joseph has the championship, which means Team Sonnen won. Now, that is being disputed. It is being disputed for all of the reasons that they didn't get to the scale. It was nobody's fault, and they did everything right. And a gentleman got hurt at the last minute, so why weigh the other guy in? The other guy's not in the UFC, so we can't find a replacement fight for him. He's only got 1 opponent, it's this guy, so we got to wait, and we'll just do it later. That's fine. Go ahead. But it has nothing to do with the Ultimate Fighter. That is concluded. Now, hear me out. Think about the filming of the Ultimate Fighter, guys. Took 35 days. You saw 12 weeks of programming, but a little behind the scenes. We were there for 35 days. And it's a tournament. It's the only tournament we have in the entire industry. There are no Grand Prix. There was no tournament. There was a Dana White Contender Series. There's one-offs, just by example. The Ultimate Fighter is extremely unique because it is an 8-man line bracket. No politics, no interview skills, no bureaucracy behind the scenes can help you, not on the Ultimate Fighter. It is why so many of those guys that win it go on to be the UFC champion. You have the actual right guy. In the rest of the sport, you don't know who the right guy is. Your strongest argument is, well, he's ranked here. Ranked? Did he beat the guys behind him? Has he not beat the guys in front? And we start to realize that's all politics. Ultimate Fighter is very unique, and when we were filming for 35 days, it's a straight line bracket. If one guy wasn't going to get to the scale, or got to the scale and failed, just for example, and that has happened, deals with an injury, can't do it, no problem, it's a forfeit. It's the only tournament in our sport, and it is the only tournament in the history of our sport that honors straight line bracketing rules, which allows for a forfeit. And that has happened through the course of the Ultimate Fighter. There is a precedent set. You have seen it. If you get to the quarterfinals and one guy, the opposite team, they don't put him in the cage, you advance into the semifinals. If you're in the semifinals and the other guy doesn't show up, you advance to the championship match. So I think that there's a real argument there. It was Daniil versus Rodrigo. I love both of these guys. I'm not picking on anybody. But Daniil was able to get to the scale. He didn't report, but he was able to, and Rodrigo was not. Under the rules of the Ultimate Fighter, and had this been in the 35-day window that you guys all saw on TV, without question, had it been in the 35-day window, Daniil would win. Forfeits happen in straight line brackets. That would have been the quarterfinals or semifinals, but because it's the finals, we're choosing to do this with heart. I understand that. I understand doing things with heart. I don't want to see a young man punished. But there's an argument by Daniil. Imagine that Daniil and Rodrigo fight and Rodrigo wins and Daniil doesn't get picked up. He's going to go, wait a minute, you're not picking me up. I had the right to be the Ultimate Fighter in Chicago. In writing, and there's not a lot of rules on the Ultimate Fighter. Like, we fiercely adhere to whatever we make up as we go. That one is actually written down. The Ultimate Fighter has concluded. And if you look at it from that perspective and you understand how this works, and you understand there's very few rules, but the dates and the straight line bracket and the way we can test straight line brackets 100% is in effect. Why would that change now? And this isn't the type of argument that I feel is going to hold up. I don't feel they are going to recognize Team Sonnen as the winners. I don't think they are going to duck the pinks and look at it and understand that we went out there 5-4 favoring Cormier. We've tied it at 5-5. We have the championship. We won. I don't think that that's going to happen, but it's exactly what we agreed to have happen. I am going to argue it. I'm going to take this to Craig Pelegian later today. And I think he's going to have a very hard time telling me that I'm wrong. We agreed. No different than the days we agreed to film. We agreed to conclude the Ultimate Fighter Saturday. I had won in the finals. Daniel had won in the finals. Joseph Morales won, which means I won. And I hope that you guys took the time to watch that match. I mean, this crowd was popping. It was the first fight of the night. We left the locker room, West Coast time where I'm from, at 3:37. Imagine that. Imagine how early that is. This crowd, thousands of people came, and they knew who Alibi was. They followed the show. They knew who Joseph was. They followed the show. They were cheering. They started a USA chant partway through. You generally are not going to get crowd interaction for the first fight of the night. In fact, I don't know if there has been a time when you had crowd interaction for the first fight of the night. They started chanting USA. They were behind Joseph completely. He has never fought so well. He is now the Ultimate Fighter. But we're not celebrating. And I know that sounds tough, but we're not. When we saw how good and we saw what Joseph is capable of, we're now in a very different conversation. And keep your eye out. Joseph set a goal of Ultimate Fighter. He achieved it. Same as he set a goal to be in the UFC and achieved that. He has now set a goal. I was there. I heard it come out of his mouth. And his new commitment is to be the world champion.